All right, while we wait for folks to join, we had an audience submitted question from Brian at Power Solutions, who submitted the question to this customer experience related webinar of, are zebras the same animal as a horse? Unfortunately for Brian, he did not know that I am a degree-carrying conservation biologist, and I will dedicate time to answering this question during a customer experience webinar. The answer to this question is that zebra is a wild species of horse. They tend to be more aggressive and unpredictable than horses. They can be tamed, but with great effort. Zebras are also smaller than horses. And that, combined with the general availability of horses, means that it's pretty rare to actually see somebody riding a zebra. So in summary, zebras and horses belong to the same family, but they are in fact different species. So remember your taxonomic mnemonic. King Philip came over for great soup, everyone. Cool. Welcome everybody to Customer Experience versus Customer Service and why leading solar businesses understand the difference, brought to you by Sungage and Bodhi. My name is Emmett. I will be your host this afternoon. I am the head of business development over here at Bodhi. By way of brief introductions, I've spent my career of 11 years in the solar industry. I've had the opportunity to work at several different organizations, but in summary, I love solar. So just to launch it off with the agenda, Reno, is that we're going to start by discussing customer experience versus customer service. Then we will move to customer experience in the solar industry, followed by a short Bodhi product demo to demonstrate how Bodhi is helping solar businesses around the country to improve their customer experience at scale. And then finally, we will wrap it up with a Q&A session. So you guys might have seen that a couple of weeks ago over here at Bodhi and at Sungage, we announced a partnership. In our initial conversations with Sungage, one of the things that we were really excited to learn that we are strongly aligned with Sungage on is this opportunity for solar businesses to capitalize on the 25-year plus relationship that they're forming in solar sales. So our thesis with Bodhi is that once somebody goes solar, that is not the end of their purchases of these new energy products and services. We think that everybody who's going solar today, in the near future, they're going to want to come back and add a battery. We think that they're going to buy an EV soon, and they're going to need somebody to install an EV charger for them. We think that they will want to repower their modules in the future, and there's all sorts of opportunities down the road, which we can only envision today. So the goal is, if we want these customers to return to us in the future, how do we do that? And at Bodhi and Sungage, we're taking the angle of it's through the customer experience, where the customers will only return to us if they have an amazing experience in the first place. And for a lot of good reasons, that is very challenging to do in the solar industry. So I'm excited to speak to you more about that and how Bodhi can play a part. So customer experience, other than being a hot and trendy buzzword, difference between customer experience and customer service is that customer service is when a customer needs assistance with your product. So sales plays a strong part of customer service. Operations plays a strong part of customer service as well. And that's usually about it. With customer experience, on the other hand, that refers to the sum of all of the interactions between an organization between a customer and your organization. So that starts with the customer's experience interacting with marketing, then with sales. It includes their experience with, the fellow who comes out for the site survey, with the project manager, the service manager, and so on. And this customer experience is really key for that lifetime value and relationship that exists. So as just a little experiment here, or rather demonstration, to highlight the value of customer experience, or rather the value of experience. We've got a poll here So the question is, which of these cars would you rather have? And you can make an argument that these are the same things. Like, it's two cars, they each have four wheels, they'll have air conditioning and radio, and you use it to drive yourself and three other people to where you want to go. This is, of course, a loaded question, so ending the poll here with everyone selecting the Porsche. So the Porsche is the correct answer. Everybody would prefer the Porsche. And so when asked, why would you choose that Porsche? I would expect to get answers around, oh, the Porsche is more luxurious, it's faster, it's cooler. I expect it to be more reliable. And if you take that a level further and say, what do all those things have in common? Then you would get to that you expect a better experience with this Porsche. In fact, what you can see now is that Porsche sells the Panamera all day long for $92,000, whereas the Chrysler PT Cruiser can be picked up on Auto Trader for $5,000. It seems like the seller's pretty happy to get $5,000 for a PT Cruiser these days. Interestingly, Porsche has the highest margins in the automotive industry and most likely the best customer experience as a result. With customer experience, there are two prongs of value, of outcomes for the business. So the first prong is probably the more obvious one, which is revenue growth. So happy customers will have better retention, they're less price sensitive, they're more willing to entertain offers for other products and services, all helping to raise revenue. This makes a lot of sense. If they're happy with your business the first time, they're going to be pretty open to, having you come out to install that EV charger down the road. The second prong is, the less obvious one, I would say, which is cost control. So happy customers will complain less and require less resources to support. And that can be a big impact for growing solar businesses. Over on the right, I found this chart doing my research for this presentation, which shows in the middle, the bar is S&P 500 index, which shows about a 200% increase in this 13-year time period. The researchers identified a group of customers known as customer experience leaders and observed that in that same time period, the customer experience leaders outperformed the S&P. Relatedly, they also identified organizations that would be identified or categorized as customer experience laggards, and these businesses returned less than the S&P overall. So to me, this very clearly demonstrates the overall value in business outcomes, or rather the value of business outcomes that can occur from providing an amazing customer experience, or the detriments that occur from providing a lousy one. Interesting fact to share here, on the CX laggards group, organizations that are commonly lumped into customer experience laggards are organizations that we compete with in the solar industry. Specifically, and this probably will not come to a surprise, is that electric utilities and retailers have notoriously poor customer experience scores. That is contrasted with the very high customer experience scores that we see in solar. And so that is a very interesting thing to know and be aware of as we're all solar professionals in this energy transition. So for me, what an amazing customer experience means, what it boils down to is an amazing customer experience is when your customers want to brag about working with you. And for me, in my life, the business that I have this relationship with is a local taco restaurant here in Austin called El Taquito. I'm originally from Austin. Recently, the city has grown quickly from a town into a city, and El Taquito has been here the whole time. So when I have customers come in, when I have friends come into town, they'll often say, hey, Emmett, I heard about a trendy new taco spot where you can stand outside in line for 40 minutes before paying $8 for a taco. Do you want to go there? And I say, I do not want to go. Counter idea, let's go to El Taquito. The tacos are awesome. They're cheap. There's always people in this restaurant, but there's never a line. And I know that everybody, because we're all consumers, there's all a business that we have a relationship with this like. So I would challenge you guys to think about what that business is and what they do to form that relationship with you. So then rolling this back to solar, the question is, for me, how do we become the El Taquitos of solar? Where, the challenges that we face is that when we have one customer, providing an amazing customer experience is pretty easy. With one customer, what we'd expect to do is be proactive about keeping them updated. We would build a personal relationship with them, and sure enough, we'll become invested in their success and the success of their solar project. And that's straightforward enough when you have exactly, one customer that you support. The challenge is, as business grows, how do you continue to do this at scale? And, we see solar project managers routinely are managing 20, 30, 50, 70 or more projects, and providing this amazing customer experience when you're supporting dozens of projects is extremely challenging and overwhelming to do. Combined with, these challenges that are present, which is that solar is expensive. For the consumers, it's perceived as a new technology, so there's some anxiety in there for them. Also, solar customers are famously excited about their purchase, about joining their solar community, and that excitement can often manifest into, neediness or a lot of support requirements. They want to talk to you about their project a lot. And then finally, we have this, relentless list of externalities that we face in solar, causing customer experience challenges. I'm talking about permits getting delayed for arbitrary reasons. Solar panels are stuck in a container off the coast of Long Beach, or even, that the utility is threatening the solar rate structure again. So, with that, there are these pitfalls in the customer experience as well, where we've seen these benefits that an organization can see by providing an amazing customer experience, but there are absolutely pitfalls as well, where some of those pitfalls include negative reviews, which increase your cost of customer acquisition. Then beyond that, as you have upset customers, it becomes a more stressful work environment for your team. And so you'd expect to see higher turnover. And then a hidden cost, which I thought was interesting to learn, is that if you have a poor customer experience, you just have to increase referral payments and bribe your customers to provide referrals. And what can happen to businesses that are growing quickly is it's very easy to fall in this trap of this negative experience, and then you're stuck in this loop where you become reactive, and you're not able to launch new initiatives while your competitors take over market share, and it's very challenging business environment. So with customer experience, there is this concept of the power of moments, which is really critical, especially at scale. So this concept is that the day-to-days blend together, and it's distinct, memorable moments that define the experience. So the two advantages that we have in the solar industry for taking advantage of these moments is, number one, going solar is exciting. We know this. And then number two is that we have known predictable moments of customer excitement in the journey, which we can capitalize on to cement this positive customer experience. Some of these include contract signing, site survey, installation, final walkthrough commissioning, when they get their first electric bill, and of course, solar anniversaries. My friend JD Smith up at Arch Electric in Wisconsin told me this awesome line recently when we were talking about solar referrals. He told me that some of his customers have been almost offended when they offer to pay them for a referral. And I was so excited to hear that, because that is a terrific clue that Arch Electric is providing an amazing experience, where the customers on their own accord want to share the experience that they've had with Arch with their friends so that they can have that similar experience. And they didn't want that relationship or referral muddied, with financial incentives. So I thought that was super interesting. So if you guys ever have customers who, say, hey, I'm almost offended, then that's a really good clue that you're on the right track. Cool. And with that, I'm excited to jump over and show you guys the quick Bodhi demo. But just quick intro to this Bodhi customer experience platform demo is that this is Scott. He's the CEO and co-founder of Bodhi. A few years ago, he went solar here in Austin. He hired a locally prominent solar business, had terrific experiences with every member of the staff that he worked with. but ultimately found that he was not getting the updates, was not being kept in the loop on his solar as much as he would like. At the end of the project, he was talking to the solar business and he said, hey, surely there's got to be something that exists to help your customers know what's going on. And the business said, there isn't. And he said, come on, really? And they nodded at him. And so fast forward a few years, and I'm excited to show you what we've come up with Bodhi Solar Customer Experience Platform.
And as Emmett gets that queued up, I just dropped it in the chat as well, but don't forget, y'all, that you're more than welcome to leave questions in the chat or submit them through the Q&A, and we'll be sure to get to them at the end. We've held plenty of time to take any of your questions, whether they're about Bodhi or they're about customer experience kind of queries writ large. So without further ado, I'll bring it back to Emmett, but wanted to chime there.
Great, thank you, Kat. Kat, could you confirm you're seeing Bodhi.solar right now?
Yep.
Great. All right, so here's our homepage, bouncing over to our Bodhi demo account. So ahead of this call, I've skinned up Bodhi for our friends over at Long Island Power Solutions. This is the same Brian who asked the zebras versus horse question. It was important to me that, as interesting as that is, that Brian leaves here with something a little bit more valuable than the new knowledge of the differences of horses and zebras. So from the solar business side, you are able to log into Bodhi. And this is the back end of all right. This is the back end of Bodhi. So this is where you're able to view the 1,000-foot view of what's going on in your customer's universe. So first thing with Bodhi is that your customers need to be added with a Bodhi account. And so we are able to take advantage of the powers of automation to make this very easy for solar businesses. So the first thing to do, and where you can begin to see, the value that automation provides, is through the process of adding a new user to Bodhi. So you simply type in their existing email address, and then through an integration that our product team would complete with the solar business's existing CRM or project management system, we're able to pull in all of the relevant customer data into Bodhi, including inverter brand, electric utility, rate structure, module type. And these fields are what Bodhi uses to personalize and make relevant the updates that Bodhi is sending to customers. You're also able to attach a document folder to the project, and then you're also able to assign a project manager and a sales rep to the projects as well. So you hit create account, and now that customer's Bodhi account is up and running. And Bodhi is going to be able to take care of the lion's share of customer updates, improving that solar customer experience. So over on Bodhi Journeys, this is where you're able to configure the granular updates that Bodhi sends to solar customers. We've broken the project up into 6 stages of design, permit, build, inspection, power up, and service. And so touch 1 with Bodhi is when that customer has their Bodhi account created, they will get a friendly welcome message from Bodhi over text, email, and then we'll post it to the Bodhi status feed as well. And then below that, you can see some of these initial triggers that we've set up in the demo account and how they relate to the existing project management system. So what this is saying is touch 2 site survey scheduled. Internally, when a project manager updates the site survey scheduled date within the CRM, at that moment, Bodhi is going to go ahead and send an automated message to the customer over text, email, and the web app status feed that site survey has been scheduled. And so this way, as you guys are adding more and more customers, they are all receiving these timely and relevant updates about what is going on with their project. Going back to the example of providing an amazing experience to one customer only, one of those reasons is because you'll be proactive with those updates. And one way that you can build that into your workflows with Bodhi is through these time sense project triggers. So in this example, the last update was system design and finalized. And then at that point, the solar business will submit paperwork for permits. So occasionally permits are submitted. We don't know how long it's going to take to get approved. So a very simple trigger to set up is permitting update 7 days. So what you can do is time since system design finalized equals 7 days. And this will send that customer a friendly note, quick update, we're hard at work on your project. Your permit has not been approved yet. Be in touch as soon as it is. And then this allows you to, be proactive to your entire growing customer base at scale to make them know that you really care and then you want to, properly communicate with them. Cool. Beyond that, as far as, lifetime value opportunities go in solar, staying engaged with your customers is really critical for that. So in the typical project tracking stage, last part of the journey will be tax credit notification. But really exciting moments that you're able to formalize the outreach through Bodhi, would include a 30-day check-in after that project has been installed and commissioned. So within Bodhi, you can easily add, a 30-day check-in to all of your customers. Congrats on your 30-day solarversary. You can easily, come in here and set up a new one for 365 days out to automate your 1-year check-in. And then a touch point that I really like is the summer solstice checkpoint. And this is just a friendly touch point to engage your customers and remind them that a cool solar event is tomorrow. So you can come in here, say on June 20th, tell my customers that tomorrow is the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. Hey, don't forget to check your monitoring to see how your solar array performs. And then this is, just allowing you to provide that personalized customer experience at scale, which will go and then manifest into strong customer relationships. So with these automated updates, one important thing that I want to call out is that we often get asked, hey, is it possible to automate the installation date scheduled update within Bodhi? And the answer to that question is yes. That is very easy for us to automate, where we would send a message to the customer and say, hey, your install is scheduled for this date. But as far as customer experience goes, we actually don't recommend that you do that. As a best practice, what we recommend is that you have an automated update to the customer that says, hey, your project is ready to be scheduled for an install. Expect a call from our office. Then have a real life human, with actual talents, make that phone call to provide that exciting news to the customer that their install date is scheduled. Then they can form relationships, build trust, and then really take advantage of the power of that exciting moment in the customer journey. So with this makes it really straightforward for a solar business to systematize all of these exciting moments along the journey: contract signing, site survey, first electric bill, even anniversaries, to stay engaged with the customers and then cement those opportunities down the road. Last thing I wanted to show you guys on the back end of Bodhi, and this goes back to the opportunity of solar customers who have an amazing experience are more likely to buy more stuff from you guys down the road, is that within Bodhi, we have some very clever marketing functionality built into Bodhi, which allows solar businesses to engage their existing and growing customer base directly through Bodhi with marketing campaigns. So in this example, you can see that we sent this marketing campaign to our customer, Albert Einstein. The filter that we used was all of the projects that are powered up. We sent this over email, text, and in-app. You're able to see that Albert opened it, clicked in the app 52 times, and then it was delivered over a text message. This makes it really effective for a solar business to create these marketing campaigns to increase those follow-on sale opportunities down the road. Another one, just very quickly, to show you guys the potential here, is one I quickly drafted this morning, now installing EV chargers. So you can easily draft that campaign, schedule it over email, text, and app, write your content. And then with Bodhi, you can even schedule these updates into the future, where you can take the short part of an afternoon, schedule your Q1 to Q2, Q3, and Q4 Bodhi marketing campaigns all in one afternoon. And so this allows solar businesses to easily, monetize those relationships of those growing customer bases that they have through follow-on sale opportunities. That being said, another opportunity or another use case rather, with these marketing campaigns that I really like is not even necessarily on, a marketing side, but you can use this to engage your customer base. So a really good example is, out in California, there's this NEM 3.0 battle going on right now. And so California contractors could send a marketing update to their entire existing customer base through Bodhi with a message that says, hey, first name, did you know that net metering is under attack? And if we don't do something in a hurry, your rate structure is going to change and you're going to be super unhappy about it very soon, I promise. Click here to sign the CALSA petition. And so that's a use case that I'm really excited about through Bodhi. But really, this is just providing, a new channel to keep, your customers engaged to capture that lifetime value. Finally, you're able to see a quick report of delayed projects, so you can get on top of those because that's a negative experience, view referrals over time, survey results that have come in, and then see your social shares. Usually I pause for questions now, but that is challenging in this webinar format, so I'm just going to move right along.
We do have some questions, Emmett, but we can hold those till the end if that works for you.
Yes, that would be ideal because I am impressed that I am trending well on time right now. Cool. So for this demo now, we're moving over to the Long Island Power Solutions skinned up Bodhi demo platform. And for this demo, I will be a fictional homeowner customer of Long Island Power Solutions. I'm wondering, hey, what's the status of my solar project? And I am ready to learn that information. So one of the things that we learned with Bodhi is that solar customers have a hard time remembering who they have a relationship with. So specifically, in an early conversation, we spoke with a solar evangelist who had solar installed on 2 of her homes. First project she had installed by Tesla. She told us that she had an awful experience. It was late, things broke. And so she didn't use them again. For her second project, she hired a local solar contractor, and she told us they did an amazing job, just blew away her expectations. So then we said, great, who was your local solar contractor? We would love to talk to them. And she said, actually, I cannot remember their name or their business. And that was really disappointing to hear because, we have this famously high cost of customer acquisition in solar, and you have this local contractor who was seriously, no doubt, grinding very hard to do an amazing job. And then his customer had entirely forgotten the relationship. And so for that reason, we work very hard to brand Bodhi very strongly for our partners so that you guys can, push your brands forward. My colleague Eddie recently mentioned to me, he says, hey, Emmett, I see Apple ads all over the place. Apple is the most valuable corporation in the world. And so many of their ads I see aren't even for a product. It just says Apple. And that convinced me that just getting your brand out there is a worthwhile exercise. If Apple's doing it, we should probably all be doing it. Cool. So for me as the customer of Power Solutions now, I am wondering what is going on with my solar project. So I've gotten these automated emails and text messages from Bodhi along the way, but now I'm ready to actually log in and see what's going on. Cool. So for Bodhi, we've designed it as a mobile-first web app, which means that it is readily accessible to the customers. If they're on desktop, they can view the desktop view. If they're on mobile, they view the mobile view. Very straightforward. So when the customer logs into Bodhi for the first time, they get met with this friendly user onboarding screen. That helps to onboard the customer. You get, good afternoon, Emmett. I'm Bodhi. I work with Power Solutions to support you in your solar journey. Customer sees relevant system specs from their proposal. So for me as the customer, this looks familiar. I'm feeling reassured that, nobody absconded with my deposit. On the next page, I'm learning that I can correspond with my project manager through Bodhi, any questions that I have. And then finally, before I came for the information I wanted to see what's going on with my project, I have to be reminded, hey, I can earn rewards by generating referrals for my solar business. So I'll skip past that. And this brings me to the white labeled Bodhi project tracker, where now just at a glance, I can immediately see that I'm 80% of the way to being solar powered, where I'm in the inspection stage. And then critically, I know exactly what to expect next, which is that Power Solutions will contact me when Austin Energy has scheduled my inspection, and this may take up to 21 days. And so with this simple functionality, what we're doing here is we're helping to bridge this customer experience gap where, all customers, all consumers out there, we have had our expectations like permanently altered by our experiences with Amazon, Uber, Netflix, whatever, where the problem is that, we can buy $30 worth of pizza now, and we know exactly when that pizza has been put in the oven, when it's out for delivery, and when it's at our doorstep. But business as usual, you buy a $30,000 solar array, and it's generally a black box about what is going on with your solar. And so with this functionality, the solar customer can immediately have that information available to them at the tap of a finger. And then what our partners are telling us is that this is greatly reducing the mundane inbound, hey, what is the status of my project updates? So it's improving the customer experience. And then it's also reducing their need to, actively support customers on this, on these mundane, project update sort of requests. As we scroll down, this is the Bodhi project feed where these granular updates to Bodhi are published, and the customer journeys that I showed you guys a moment ago. This is where these are posted to the Bodhi web app itself, and we can just see those get posted. Within solar, a challenge that we have going back to, these moments is that we know at the point of contract signing, customers are really excited to go solar. And then we know at the point of commissioning, they're really excited as well. But in between those two stages where it can take who knows how long is the biggest opportunity for that solar customer experience to go sideways. One of the tools that we empower our partners with to navigate that is a very simple customer experience survey that you're able to embed along the customer journey. And when we came out with this, I was excited to see how many, solar homeowners said that they loved working with their solar businesses. But what we're hearing is how this functionality is really valuable is it gives the customers an opportunity to very easily and early on tell their solar business, hey, I'm actually not having such a great experience. Because now that that customer has had that opportunity and ability to do so, solar business can identify it. And then the earlier they're able to address that concern, usually the easier a resolution is. So customers happy, solar business is working a little bit less hard, and we're improving the experience for everybody along the way. Cool. So this is generally the project tracker. Last thing I wanted to mention about this is that this is fully automated with Bodhi. So the only way that this project tracker is moving forwards is through that integration that our product team completes with your project management system. So internally, as your team is marking tasks within the project completed, adding notes, Bodhi is running in the background, refreshing, and when it sees an update, a relevant update has been made, this project tracker moves forward, pushes the relevant update to the customer, and this way, solar project managers can actually spend their days executing projects instead of providing updates, the whole time. Cool. So once that project then gets to 100% completed, that's where Bodhi switches over to the monitoring view. And this is the opportunity that I'm really excited about in solar. So this, cool. All right. So up until now, we've typically been pushing our customers off towards, whatever third-party inverter that they've purchased, to that inverter monitoring platform, whatever third-party, monitoring thing that they have. And so with Bodhi now, the solar business is able to provide this end-to-end customer experience, where in this example, the customers now can view and monitor their production. And it's all branded in this example for Power Solutions, so that as that customer goes on, they know that their relationship is with Power Solutions. Beyond that, within this simple monitoring chart here, we have active performance monitoring and performance alerts built into this. So the customer experience opportunity here is that it's a really, really lame time when the solar customer realizes that their solar has been de-energized for the entire summer when they get hammered with that electric bill. And that conversation is a huge bummer, to say the least. So with Bodhi, because we're providing this technology platform, we're able to pull in monitoring data from all the main inverter platforms, Enphase, SolarEdge, SMA, Fronius. And now Solar Business is able to sit back, relax, assume that all of their projects are up and working, unless Bodhi notifies them otherwise. And then with that, my favorite thing about that functionality is that if the Solar Business gets a ping from Bodhi, it'll say, hey, we haven't seen monitoring data from Emmett's project for 3 days. With that notification, Solar Business would call Emmett and say, hey, Emmett, we got a notification that your monitoring isn't reporting. Should we send somebody out there and check it out? Or did you recently change your Wi-Fi password? And my favorite part about that question is that that can only be answered in a positive way, which is that either, oh, actually, I didn't know that there might be a problem with my solar. Yes, please send somebody out. Then when you send somebody out, you are a solar business who cares about the success of your customer and your project. And you have your tech who's on site now, the hero, can ask, now that you've remembered that you love us, who else in your neighborhood should we be talking to about solar? Get some referrals that way. Or the other way that that conversation goes is the customer says, that's crazy, I did change my Wi-Fi password. No, everything is working well. That's amazing that you noticed, thank you. Then you also ask them at that point, hey, since we're an amazing solar company, who else should we be talking to in your neighborhood about solar? You get some more referrals along that way. And so that's one really easy opportunity that this active monitoring through Bodhi provides to, really, build on that customer experience. Below here, we've got, just environmental facts, which are relevant to customers. And then you can see the demo marketing update here, add batteries to your home solar system. Nice. Over in system, this is where the solar customers are able to share their excitement. Going back to how customers are excited, now you guys have formed this amazing customer experience. You have to empower the customers to share their excitement with their friends so that they rope in more individuals for their solar community. With this, the solar customer is able to point their phone at their friend who asks them, hey, how much does solar cost? Can you tell me about your project? And then now I can point this at my friend and say, yeah, I have a 6.5 kilowatt system. I'm expecting 99% average offset. I'm going to save $1,000 this year. And my project was installed by Power Solutions. And then with that, that customer is just able to speak much better to the benefits of solar and be more likely to convert their friend into a lead for Power Solutions. Then beyond that, to capture the excitement of solar, we have this very slick functionality within Bodhi of share via socials. So when a customer comes in here and we see the users using this functionality frequently, user comes in here, clicks on Facebook button, punches in their message, and then now on my news feed, I've just shared this, Emmett Marinker, I love solar. And now my friends on my newsfeed click on that link to see my solar project. And this is a picture of my actual solar project. My name is Albert now though. Albert system at a glance, 6.5 kilowatts, 99% average offset. And then this helps them begin that discovery where the first question is, how much does solar even cost? Now they can come in here, provide this, quick address, home size, mash calculate, and then Bodhi will return, a fully white labeled Long Island Power Solutions calculator to set those expectations. Oh, I need a 6 to 8 kilowatt system. I'll probably save 20 grand. I'm going to preserve a ton of glacier. And then now I can get in touch with Power Solutions to learn more about solar. And everybody who clicks, everybody who sees me share this on Facebook now has been exposed to this lead intake form. Plus, it's social proofed by me sharing this. And so through this, we're also able to help, capture this value of this amazing customer experience. Cool. Awesome. Last thing here on Bodhi is that really we view referrals as an outcome of an amazing customer experience, where the goal is to provide an amazing customer experience. Once you do that, the customers want to brag about working with you, You really just need to provide them a tool that makes it super easy for them to provide these referrals. So we've integrated that into Bodhi here. You also have that URL link I just showed you. And with this now, my friend says, hey, I'm interested in solar. I think to myself, hey, I would not only like to share my experience of working with Power Solutions, but I would also like to earn $500 in referral rewards. And then I can type in my friend's name, phone number, hit give, and that generates that referral where my friend receives that solar calculator. And then also my sales rep who sold me this project receives an immediate email that his customer Emmett just referred his friend to me. And then it provides my friend's information here. So that sales rep can use discretion on engaging that referral. Then finally, to wrap it up, as far as improving the customer experience, we just have several tools around here designed around making life easier for the solar customer. And then as an extension, life easier for the solar business that supports them as well. Cool. And so there's a lot more to go into here on Bodhi, but that is as much as I will be able to get into today with the limited time that I have. Then last thing I wanted to mention before opening us up for Q&A is that related to our partnership with Sungage, we recently announced a Sungage Finance Partner Perk, where solar businesses who are already Sungage partners are able to receive 50% off of our implementation fee. And then beyond that, they also receive their first month of Bodhi for free. So if you're on Sungage and would love to learn more about Bodhi, I'd love to hear from you. If you are not yet on Sungage, but would like to learn more about Sungage and how they can help you get projects financed in a very expeditious and friendly manner, I'd be happy to set up some introductions as well. Right. Then with that, we'll turn it over to some Q&A.
Great. Thanks everyone for all your questions. I know that the chat is heating up with a number of different ones. I know there are a lot of different questions about which inverters or which CRMs we integrate with. So maybe Emmett, you could run through that in general. In particular, people are interested in, inverters like Enphase or Hoy Miles or Generac, and then kind of which CRMs Bodhi works with as well.
So as far as CRMs, so what we like to say at Bodhi now is that we integrate with the 19 most popular CRMs in use in solar. One of the interesting things that we have learned is that there is no CRM that is dominant in the solar industry. Salesforce probably has a little bit of a plurality with about 20% market share in our experience. And then below that, it is really a free-for-all. So we support Salesforce, Zoho, HubSpot, Monday.com, Solar Success are some of the main ones, but hopefully you guys are already using one of the 19 most popular CRMs. If not, we are able to integrate with any CRM that has an open API is how we're integrating with CRMs or project management systems. Then for the inverters, the inverters that we are compatible with are Enphase, SolarEdge, SMA, Fronius, Hoy Miles very soon. Just about all of the relevant inverter manufacturers, yes.
Yeah, eGauge, Sense, SolarEdge. I think you mentioned all those as well too, right, Emma?
That's right. Thanks, Kat.
And then we also had a couple of questions about how the partnership with Sungage works. So someone asked if they're a Sungage customer, will they be able to see the financing information they signed up with through Bodhi, as well as updates in regard to their financing?
Great question. So not presently. So within Bodhi, you would see the functionality that I just demoed. You'd be able to see all of your projects, all of the statuses, but at this time we don't have a deeper integration with Sungage, but it's something that we're really interested in exploring over time.
Nice. And then another quick question about open solar.
We don't yet have an integration with OpenSolar. So with Bodhi, this comes up a lot where folks will say, hey, do you integrate with OpenSolar, Aurora, SolarGraph, 4th, 5th, 6th design tool? And so what we like to say to that is we insist on integrating Bodhi with the system that is the operational backbone of the solar organization. And so usually this is the CRM or project management system. So most commonly solar businesses will be using OpenSolar or one of these design tools for design and proposal. And then they're also using HubSpot, Monday, Salesforce, something as that project management system. And then so we strongly encourage that the project management system is the center of the data world, and then that is what we integrate with. I am aware that OpenSolar is continuing to add CRM functionality. So I'm sure as soon as somebody wants to have OpenSolar and Bodhi at the exact same time, we'd be perfectly happy to talk about it.
Awesome. And then I answered it briefly in the chat, but I know that you probably have more to expand on here in terms of how Bodhi is so good at this. But someone asked as well, are customers able to leave reviews on Google or Facebook via the app? Will they be prompted to leave reviews when their project has finished? And I know we have kind of a unique approach to that.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you for asking, whoever asked that question. Thank you for pointing out that glaring omission from my demo. Yes, that's like one of the main things that Bodhi does, and I just completely forgot to mention that. Absolutely. So yeah, so getting reviews from your customers is like annoyingly hard. It's like much harder than it should be. So with Bodhi, we are really dialed in on how we're able to automate this process. So there's a couple things we do which are very clever, but basically we're able to help improve the customer experience. That combined with the timing, it allows us to prompt the users for reviews at moments where we know that they're likely to publish those reviews. And then also with Bodhi, we built this to be highly customizable by the solar organization. So if you're on Google reviews, we can send reviews to Google reviews. If you're on solar reviews, Best Company, Trustpilot, Yelp, whatever, it doesn't matter if it's on the internet, we can help you get reviews for there. We also do have an optional Net Promoter Score functionality as well, where your customers are able to provide 1 through 10. How's your experience been?
Awesome. And then I see a couple more questions have come in the chat. I did want to toss it back to just an earlier one to make sure that they know I haven't forgotten them. This was one of the first questions we had. Is it hard for solar companies to create support teams?
Is it hard for solar companies to create support teams?
In your solar expert opinion?
It's I don't know if it's hard. It's definitely a task. It's an initiative for sure. So the things with solar support teams is that there are often more entry-level roles, which is really awesome for getting entry folks their first jobs in solar. Is really terrific. Everybody needs their first job in solar. Challenges with support teams is that the support team is usually viewed as a cost center for the organization. And so usually the sentiment towards support from the solar business is, how do we do the most for the least? And so usually that support team will be as under-resourced as the solar business can get away with, which is challenging for the individuals on that support team, and then also challenging for the customers as well. Beyond that, customer support roles, because their customer support roles do have higher turnover associated with that as well. So you're spending time on your customer support team, hiring, training, which is activities that you could be spending time doing other stuff with. That being said, definitely having actual humans on your customer support team is a really important and critical part of the solar business, but that would be just the short of what I would have to say about that with that context.
Nice. And then before I toss you the next one, which I think a lot of people will be curious to hear your answer, I did want to bring back up in regards to the Google reviews and question earlier that Bodhi's customers have an average NPS of 77, which is much higher than the industry standard, even for folks like Sunrun. So we're really proud of that number and wanted to share it with the group. Now, kind of a one that I think would be on a lot of people's minds from Catherine was, if you are at all familiar with Get the Referral, are there stark differences between Get the Referral and Bodhi?
Yeah, of course, we're familiar with Get the Referral. Get the Referral has been around for a while. I like Get the Referral. I'm a fan. So Get the Referral is good for getting referrals. It's purpose built for that. The biggest difference, and we get this question, pretty frequently, is that with Bodhi, we do not think of Bodhi as a referral platform. No, we think of Bodhi as a customer experience platform. And so from the beginning, we built Bodhi from the ground up around this opportunity of helping solar businesses improve the customer experience at scale. So you just saw it starts with that project tracking, and then it goes to that white labeled monitoring and so on. And so what we're onto is that our thinking is that if we can improve the customer experience, referrals will be a side effect of that, along with these other benefits that I outlined in my presentation earlier. And so that different approach is, I think, key differences between the two products. There are definitely folks who, Bodhi is not a good fit for, and they're looking for, exactly what Get the Referral is. So, by all means, check that out. But then for the solar organizations that, want to prioritize the actual, the full customer experience, see the benefits for their operations team and staff, have a differentiated, tech tool to help their sales team close deals and support higher selling prices. And then, support their marketing team with these, reviews and referral automations as well. Yeah, that's usually what our partners look like.
Awesome. Thanks, Catherine. Yeah, we'd love to chat with you as well. Thanks for the question, and we really appreciate you attending. A couple more questions around data, which I think a lot of folks would be interested in. One, which we answered a little bit in the chat, but you might want to expand on, is who has ownership of the data once it is in Bodhi? And then secondly, if you move on from Bodhi down the road, can you easily extract your data? So a couple of data ones.
Cool. So yeah, relating to the data ownership. So first of all, we're pulling that data from your existing CRM or project management system. All the interesting data that we have, we're just pulling it from some record that you already are keeping. So perhaps you'd want to pull information on like the referrals or survey scores that have come through Bodhi. But it should be, yeah, if you would need assistance with that, I'm sure we'd be happy to help you get your beloved data back. Then as far as data ownership, so yeah, we are a SaaS technology product and platform for that data. So we are eager to see our partners, use that data to engage and continue to support their customers. Ultimately, I believe, if yeah, I need to check with my boss on this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something we could go further into details with if anyone wants to take this conversation to a one-on-one with Emmett. We've got some specialists on that with the product side, and I know we'd love to chat. And then the last question I have on my list, but if we have 5 more minutes, if there are any more questions from the group, continue to add them to the chat and we can get back to them. But the people were a little curious about the calculator that you shared. So how does that work? What does the backend look like for it? And maybe some more of the functionality around it.
Cool. So the calculator is very cool. So with the calculator, the problem that we're trying to solve is that somebody's interested in solar. First question they're going to have is, I've heard solar is expensive. How much does it cost? And they need a reasonable and accurate quick estimate for that. Also, it is really important that we do not overestimate the savings or the value that the customer sees, because that would be grounds for a really lame customer experience. So the way that our calculator works is that we actually wrote and coded that calculator. We use the actual solar rate structures by all of the utilities across the country. The solar rate structures combined with localized solar irradiance data and then system home size are the main inputs that we use for that calculator. We are eager to have our partners use that calculator to get that in front of their customers and prospects. Many solar businesses that we're currently working with have already developed their own calculator. Works pretty similarly. If you have your own calculator that you're stoked about, we are happy to replace our in-house calculator with your calculator.
Awesome. And those were all of the questions that I had noted down. So if there are any last questions you have for Emmett, feel free to put them in the chat right now. As someone asked earlier, we will be sending out a full recording of this event to everyone that has registered. So you can always share it with other folks in your company there, or you can of course get in touch and set up a one-on-one call with Emmett to answer any more questions. If you have any questions about Sungage in particular as well, we'd love to pass y'all along to them. So feel free to reach out to Emmett directly. Oh, great question, Petrus. Maybe do you want to touch on pricing quickly, Emmett?
Yep, thank you, Petrus. So I did not mention pricing. Good question. So for pricing for Bodhi, the way that we bill Bodhi is on a per project basis. So the cost of Bodhi gets passed on as a project cost versus incurred as an overhead expense. Like any good-natured SaaS company, we provide discounts based on volume. Recently, we figured out through our partnership with Sungage that for basically our highest no discounts pricing option, when Bodhi is added to a Sungage finance product for that 25-year loan, you could expect the additional cost of Bodhi to increase your customer's monthly Sungage payment by 86 cents per month.
Awesome. I hope that was helpful. And like I said, if you want to get more into the weeds on that, I'm sure Emmett would be happy to chat more about that and what it particularly might look like for your solar company. So if anyone is interested in reaching out for one-on-one, you can always schedule a demo through our website, or I'm dropping Emmett's email address in the chat. You can also reach out to him if you're interested in particular about Sungage. He's happy to forward you along to some of the account reps over there to get you set up. Otherwise, always good to book a demo. Is there anything else I'm forgetting, Emmett, or a process point?
Kat, can you do an SPI plug?
Oh, yes. Great call. We will be at SPI, as I'm sure many of you guys will be. We'll be at booth 2284. You guys will be getting the first teaser right here, but we'll be having a claw machine, which we haven't revealed, and tons of really sweet swag. All of the typical, hats, shirts, but also some socks and some great stuff. And Joel, great question. SPI is September 19th through the 22nd in Anaheim. We'll also be doing some really fun partnerships with other folks in the industry. If anyone is Suncast listeners here, we'll be having a panel there with actually Enphase, Omnidian, BayWa, and Palmetto. So a lot of the industry greats that would love to talk to you some more about the lifetime value of a customer and how you can get more out of it, especially with follow-on products and sales. And we'll be hosting yoga with BayWa as well. So if any yogis or wannabe flexible folks are in the chat, we'd love to see you there as well. But otherwise, again, booth 2284, I'll drop that in the chat as well. And yeah, thanks everyone for attending. We really appreciate it.
Yep, thank you all very much. Appreciate your time and attention. Please reach out on LinkedIn. Be eager to connect.